Hey God Feeders, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm in London at the moment. I'm super excited to be here with these two beautiful, gorgeous men. This is Adam and this is Daniel. And what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about something that you've requested on this channel a lot. It's going to be about emotions and how they connect to the physical body. The way we're going to do it is we're just going to have a chat, we're going to relax together, and you're going to be like in a cafe having lunch with us, just joining in and being part of the conversation.
I can tell you a story about when I had a nightmare. I had at about 2 o'clock in the morning, and this intense feeling of fear comes up, and I'm there 2 o'clock in the morning for an hour and a half processing these feelings of fear. At one point I thought I could die because the fear was so intense.
What was it? What was it about?
Actually, it stemmed from an incident, because I started, after about an hour of processing the fear, I started to see that I started to get memories of when I was a child. I was 9 years of age, and I lived in a place, and something happened to me, and I never fully processed the fear behind that incident.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, these memories start coming up, and the fear gets even more intense. But then after I've let go of all that fear, it takes me about an hour and a half. I finished at 3:30 in the morning.
Well done, dude.
Yeah.
You're not selling this to people.
Yeah. But this is me going on extreme mode, yeah. So I go to work. I'm running a business at that point, and I have the best day at work I've had in 9-10 years. I'm super efficient. I'm really connecting with people. I'm just making decisions. And not only that, I noticed the fear in every aspect of my life has gone down. Over the next 2 weeks, I noticed my fear in making business decisions has gone down. My fear in selling has gone down. My fear in public speaking has gone down. My fear in speaking to my ex-wife has gone down. They've all gone down, but they've gone down by a little bit. And I noticed, okay, so I still must be carrying quite a bit. So. Yeah.
Wow, that's a great story.
That's often, that is so great, that's what you say, because that's often what I experience, like why people sometimes think like, oh, she's just crazy, you know, from one uncomfortable situation in the next one, and give me a tinier room, put me, right now we did a workshop, you know, like I'm an outdoor person, I love to be outside, fresh air, space, you know, and sleeping and meditating and bath. And this was like a full-on 14-hour, I'm not kidding you, 14-hour workshop. Yeah, we did that together. And
for 3 days, yeah.
For 3 days, in a closed room, like super tiny, with a lot of people, sweating, smelling, warm, artificial.
It was.
Unless it's true, they smell great. The artificial light coming on, the microphone speaking loud, 14 hours, and then I had 2 hours of getting, like 1 hour getting there, 1 hour back. It was amazingly uncomfortable. So when I came into the room, I was like, oh, I wanted to run out again. And so people are thinking, like, why is she doing that, you know, suffering herself? But I knew that behind that, when I do that, and when I feel, what I learned in this workshop was about like flexibility. When I'm able to have this kind of uncomfortableness and stay there, I also had a toothache, and stay there, then behind there is more freedom. There's more energy. And what you said with this is kind of that you had more energy and everything flowed better.
Yeah.
For me, I feel like this kind of suppressing emotion or feeling angry or anything tight really in me, I'm like super sensitive now. Like as soon as I feel like, oh, this person annoys me, I feel like, ooh, there's some energy loss. Because that's what's going to take energy. It takes so much energy.
Yeah, it's like holding a balloon underwater. When you suppress an emotion, each emotion is like a fuel cell. So there's a certain type of fuel with each emotion. So as you face that emotion and release it or integrate it, then that fuel of the emotion is given back to you. And not only that, the energy you use to suppress it is given back to you. So you're getting two forms of energy. The energy of the emotion and the energy used to suppress it. Which is why many people, when they get older, they say they're getting more tired. It's not because really they're older, it's because they're holding down this huge quantity of emotional energy that they can't face. And every time it comes up, suppress it. And that takes a tremendous amount of energy. And the fuel of emotion is so powerful. It's, we can really just access the different types of fuel. So, if you have a lot of sadness or suppressed grief, then when you access that grief and you allow the tears to flow, then that fuel is the fuel of connection, and therefore you start to connect with people once you process grief. If you hold,
like a barrier, basically.
When you process the grief, the barriers come down and you start reconnecting. Yes. And the majority of men and women carry a tremendous amount of suppressed grief, and once you deal with that grief, we start to reconnect with everything and everyone, and it's amazing.
You found that specifically with grief?
Yeah, with grief, certain emotions,
like
suppress them.
Fear as well, right?
Yeah, fear. With me, anger. If you feel yourself, I think, procrastinating a lot and not being motivated, then a lot of the time is due to suppressed anger. And if you process this anger, feel it, release it, then you start to get more motivated, because the energy of anger is immensely strong. It's very powerful. Now imagine, instead of that being suppressed in you, you had that to use as creativity or action.
Yeah, and you really will start to notice a difference with it as well. And the more you clear, and also you'll start to make healthier choices. You'll want to eat better. You'll ditch the portion of chips, and you'll want to eat something just a little bit better for you. And gradually it sort of builds and builds, and it's like your system's being cleansed out.
How was that for you?
So I had quite an amazing experience of this, but it happened very abruptly. So I was eating a roast chicken dinner that my mum had cooked for me, and an hour and a half later I was really sick and threw the whole lot up. And a little voice in my head said, "That's it now, no more meat." And I was like, really? I had no interest in being vegetarian whatsoever. But that's actually quite common when you start doing this work. And for 6 years after that, I was vegetarian, and then eventually it was just like, right, that's it now. You're now vegan. So it's like, and that sounds awful. If you're a meat lover, I can totally resonate. Daniel needs to do this still, but
I'm a part-time vegetarian.
Whatever. So it can be really, like, if you're a meat lover, and Daniel will tell you this, I'm sure, you're not going to want to give up meat, right? And I didn't either. But the positive thing I can tell you is it will, when you clear enough of your stuff, it will just happen quite naturally. And since that day, I've not had any craving for meat whatsoever. And now the actual thought of it really, really disgusts me.
Yeah.
And the same with dairy and stuff. And you'll find that you'll sort of start to eat something, and you'll take a bite of it, and you'll be like, and it's something you've been eating for years and years, and it's just like, actually that's too heavy now, or it's not great energy, and you'll just intuitively start to pick up things that will be better for you, more supportive.
So the feeling of meat disgusts you?
Yes.
You need to clear that, no?
Yeah, I probably do.
We're going to have a process in a minute. We're going to set them up. It's going to be
that is actually true. I should probably clear that. Yeah.
Before we go into the clearing of your problems, like for me, because sometimes it's like, the bad meat eater, we are the vegan, we are raw, we are kind of all look at our skin, I have some vanity, I have to say. But for me, what I notice is that food is nothing else. It's energy. Like food, like emotions, like thoughts. Everything is energy. This is energy. It's just condensed. It's just more condensed. And for me, that's why I found it so interesting, like to have you guys here to talk about like emotions and physical, because food is like physical. And I noticed a little bit the same as you, like. The more I grow for myself, the more I need different food. Like, for now, I remember you was just asking me, I was just eating cooked broccoli while he was making a sandwich with ham and everything. He looked at the broccoli and said, like, is this...
That was pretty much the look.
Like, without salt, with anything. You can't just eat this, and I'm like,
you were just eating broccoli and that was it, and I thought, okay, there could be a little bit more to it than that.
No, but for me this is like, I feel like this is kind of satisfying. At the same time, sometimes when, for example, I'm in these workshops.
Not there yet.
But that's what I mean. I mean, it's not like I'm so spiritual grown, oh my God, I have so much spiritual energy.
Not a judgment.
It's not, it's not.
Are you sure?
It is towards you, because you need to step up.
We're going to cut that one out. No, for me, it's like at certain points I need different food. So when I'm really, really stressed, for example, like in the workshop, like 14 hours, then at some point I feel like, oh my God, maybe now it needs to be an oat cake with chocolate cookies. Or if I feel, I'm losing the grounding a little bit, then I need something more heavy. That's not going to be meat anymore, but for me, heavy is already if I eat an avocado because it's high fat. That's heavy already.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So whatever the person needs right now, I feel that's also.
I have to say, even with me, even though I still haven't given up meat.
Do you want to sit a little bit down, lower than everybody else?
Even though I still haven't given up meat, there are instances where it doesn't resonate with me. So, which was never the case in the past.
Yeah, that's good. It's coming.
You're getting there.
I'll get there in my own time, not because of pressure from you two.
Broccoli, eat my bro.
But sometimes you do need to clear that last little bit of resistance as well. You know that. I mean, it will happen naturally. It's going to happen naturally. But there's also a time when there's something we don't want to face. I used to have this thing with bread. Like bread, I was like, bread. I could eat literally a whole loaf of bread in a day. And I had to give it up. The guy who was coaching me at the time said, you need to stop eating bread, because under different types of food, actually this is worth talking about, under different types of food, different emotions and patterns and stories actually hide under that food. So
especially sugar.
Especially sugar's a massive one, and that's actually normally the last thing that people can give up in my experience. And it takes the most work, especially because it's often been used as a reward with sweets and chocolate as kids, And
it's stimulating serotonin, release of good foods.
It makes you feel good,
But if you clear the emotion underneath sugar, then you won't need sugar in your life.
Yes, but sometimes to get to that emotion, because it's so buried under it, you have to give it up, even for a period of time. So I had to give up bread for, I think, 4 weeks. And at the time I was like, it was killing me to give up bread. And actually, after the 4 weeks, it was like, it's okay now, you've cleared it. And actually, a lot of emotion came up. And I remember, just before I got the okay, like intuitively, right, you're okay to eat bread again, I had an absolute breakdown for like about half an hour. All this emotion came out, this sadness that I hadn't been aware of. And then I felt absolutely fine and much lighter. And it was like, you can eat bread again. So it's not always that you have to give everything up. Don't feel like you're going to give, all your favorite things up. It's not like that. And even if you do,
unless you work with me, then you have to.
Oh, okay. So, that's your crowd. So.
Just kidding. That was a joke. Oh, God. Everybody laughing.
So, I mean, that is really, really great when you come out the other side of giving something up. If you can then do it again, because you'll feel different and you can still eat what you were before. So it's cool.
But you can use this process in any area of your life, including goal setting, facing the feelings around your goals. It could be your health goals, it could be your wealth goals, anything.
Yeah. And
it's really easy to do as well. You just get in touch with whatever feeling comes up. If you really believe in a goal, then you'll go ahead much more quickly towards the goal. But then if you don't really believe the goal, then you have feelings that come up that say, well, I can't do this. And that's just a feeling that can be felt and released.
Yeah. So I'm writing a book, which is virtually finished. And I started writing it, or another book I started writing with a mutual friend, the guy who connected us, Beneek Bhatia, who taught me the emotional release, which became Feel It. And basically he and I started writing a book about Feel It, and we just couldn't do it. We went to a cottage in the countryside and we were there for a couple of days. We had written nothing at all, not one word. And we were like, this just isn't working.
So what were you doing?
we were like...
eating bread.
Eating bread, yeah. Talking about, anything but. I mean, literally, TV, distracting ourselves, get on the phone, internet. And we created a new process. So it's basically Feel It, but kind of an extreme version where we call it Stay in the Room, Feel It, where basically you force yourself, even when it's the last thing you want to do, to stay in the room and feel the emotion. So we would sit in front of the blank sheet of paper, and we sat there, and the first time we did it, we sat there for 3 hours. This is extreme, don't worry, you're not going to have to do this, not yet. But after the 3 hours, we were sort of clearing it, right, I don't feel good enough, I'm not worthy, I don't know what to write, I feel stupid, all these stories coming up, and then just sitting, feeling. And then the amazing thing about that is, once you clear all of that, you get to a point of clarity. And downloads were then kind of coming through us. Like we'd then be able to write like 3 or 4 pages just off the bat without even thinking about it. Like unbelievable. And then the next wave would come up, then we'd have to sit and clear that, or we'd go for a walk, come back and sit and clear that as well. Yeah,
because when you deal with feelings, the blocked feelings and emotional energies, and you release them, then the insights can come. You've got space now for the insight to come, and that's the creativity. Yeah. And a lot of times our creativity is blocked by what's inside of us.
Yeah, always. I would say absolutely always. And the other thing which I find, which is the same in a way, is decision making. So if you're a big prevaricator, or you just can't make a decision about something, if you sit down and do this process, you will get to a point where it's just so blindingly obvious what you need to do, and you'll be like, why was I even confused about that? It becomes so crystal clear and simple, and it's just then effortless to do it as well.
So what that means is dealing with a feeling of confusion, because a lot of times even if you're confused about the process of how to do it, you deal with that feeling of confusion. Okay, so I have confusion here. Where is it in my body? Let me just stay with that feeling, and eventually that feeling will start to dissolve. Yeah, but you can't want to make it dissolve, because then you're resisting it. If you work with Peggy, then whatever comes up with me, I will share. Peggy may be triggered by Adam in a way. Yeah. She has to be 100% honest. So if something comes up with me, then I'll be honest, and then we'll share that, because we're all working together as.
Okay. All right. So we're looking for a negative emotion, and we'll keep it really simple to start with, just so that we don't want to be dealing with anything massive like your ex-partner and how they broke your heart and all of that. So we just want something very small. So my suggestion is, how are you feeling right now in the moment? And sometimes it's like the immediate reaction is, I feel great, but often there's something deeper beneath that. So close your eyes for me, take a deep breath, let go of kind of the conversation. And just sort of tune in to how you really feel deep down. And we're looking here for a negative emotion, okay? So it could just be a little bit tense, feel a bit uncomfortable with sitting here with my eyes closed, I feel a bit vulnerable, could be I feel cold, feel a bit tired, anything along those lines.
Can it be something physical as well?
Can be physical if you've got a physical pain coming up. Yeah, it can present in that way, absolutely. Yeah.
So I have like here behind the shoulder on the right side, there's like a tension.
Okay.
And there's also the toothache was here. So it's all a little bit on the right side.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to focus on you, Peggy. So just take your consciousness into the area that you feel that pain. And tell me, once you're in there, what do you see or feel in there? And it can just be a feeling. It could be, it just feels tense or tight or uncomfortable. But it could also be a picture of something, a memory or a word or an emotion that comes up. And just take a breath, and you'll just go deeper into it, and you'll see something there. And
just give me some moments.
Sure.
So it's like, when you first started, it felt like a little bit sad.
Okay.
Like there's something like.
What does that noise mean?
Like contracted. Like a little bit like like something protective, like shielding or
okay.
like a.
Okay. So is that the predominant feeling that you're feeling?
No, it's like in this part.
Okay. Yeah.
I felt that out of that part.
Okay. So go with that. So I'm going to get you to just measure that, so we can track how it changes. So on a scale of 0 to 10, with 10 being intense and 0 being it's completely gone, how intense is that feeling? And the number should just pop into your head, you know.
5.
5. Fantastic. Okay. So look, with this process, your only job now is to feel that feeling and to stay focused on the area that you feel it. It might move around the body, it might move to somewhere else. But generally speaking, it's going to start to go down. The numbers will start to go from 5 to 4, 3, until it gets to 0. So when it's at 0, that means it's completely gone and that feeling is no longer there. And just to advise you, sometimes when you focus in on it at first, it can go up 1 or 2 points. So it might go up to a 6 or a 7. Don't worry, it's not getting worse. It's just that it's, by you focusing on it, it's sort of coming more to the fore, to the surface. And it's going to then start to gradually dissipate and until it eventually disappears completely. Maybe what you could do is just tell us as you perceive the numbers to be decreasing, or if they go up, tell us that as well.
Well, while you were talking, what happened, like from my attention or the pain or the uncomfortableness went up to my teeth again, like here to the right side,
Okay.
there. And actually I would say like increased about like 1.5.
Okay, good. So I would say good to my clients, it really annoys them, but it's great. We want all the feeling to come up so that you can then let it go. Okay, we don't want it being suppressed anymore. So just focus. You can focus on 2 or multiple places in the body if it's now in the teeth and in the back as well. Focus on both. And again, just feel.
Yeah, it just dropped to 4 when I took a deep breath, and I felt like, oh, I'm relaxing more, you know, I feel like I allow it.
Nice. So deep breaths and deep exhalations often sort of signify that it's either done or that you've cleared a big piece of it. So that's really cool.
It's almost like when I focus on that area, it's like the more I focus, the more it feels like it's like liquid, yeah, getting liquid and like running out. It's
like melting, dissipating. Yeah, perfect. That's how most people experience it. Everyone has a different feeling, you know, different way that they understand it, but there's no right or wrong. As long as it's going down, it's working.
Now it went like the upper part a little bit,
Okay.
like just very slightly, like
Subtle, okay.
I mean not up in numbers, just up in location.
Okay. What number is it at now?
I was getting in. This is like 2 right now, and this is maybe 3.5.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It just started, so.
Yeah, that's okay. That feels like almost like another layer. But so ordinarily you'd stay with the one feeling and it would keep going down. But there can be slight exceptions. So you've kind of got 2 things going on at the same time. So just let yourself feel all of it at the same time. That's why I call this process feel it, because at the end of the day, whatever you're feeling, you just have to feel that. You know, it's not that you have to work anything out in your mind. It's not a thinking exercise, which makes it so simple, because so many people are really in their heads these days and come to me, oh, how do I do this? I'm not sure about this, and and it's always, so no need to think, just tell me, what do you feel? Now feel that. Simple, huh?
I mean, the down part is like almost gone.
Great.
But the upper part is very present.
Yeah, it's gone up.
No, yeah, but it's like this, like going up, down. Like sometimes, like some.
Okay. So really let it come up fully and just focus all of your attention on it and feel it fully.
Like in between, the other thing came up again, but then, yeah,
okay.
not it again. No,
Okay.
this is kind of.
Oh, really?
Yeah, something like that.
What number is it, roughly?
It's changing a lot. Like it's kind of from almost not there to there again, almost not there again.
Okay. So just stay with it. It feels like it's doing it. It's not as linear as normally you'd expect it, but yeah.
Welcome to my
Everyone,
world.
welcome to my world.
Now I feel like my heart is like opening up somehow. There's kind of like something happening.
Nice.
And then comes the pain again. Or not pain, like presence, like I feel it there, it's here.
Okay. So it feels like you're doing it really well. Stay with it.
The upper is gone.
Great.
Down is... in that moment when I say it, it's coming back, it's funny. And down, I still feel a bit like still there.
Okay. So it feels like you're nearly done now. Just stay with that feeling, whatever comes up. You almost just like you follow the feeling, and just feel that. When you feel like it's down to 0 and it's completely gone, you can just open your eyes and come back into the room.
I think I'm not gonna get there to down to 0.
So that's really good that you just said that, because so many people say that, they're like, this is never going to go.
No, never, but not like, yeah.
Not in the next few minutes?
No, I feel it's like connected with my heart somehow. Like it's kind of my heart opened up and it was warmer.
Okay.
And then they communicated somehow. There was like kindness or self-love or gentle or something.
That feels absolutely spot on. So look, sometimes you don't quite get to 0 in the moment. My suggestion generally would be stay with the feeling in the background as you then go about your day if time gets tight. And sometimes it just takes a little bit longer, but the vast majority of times you can clear the whole thing just sitting with it in the one sitting. Obviously Peggy is an unusual character.
In case you haven't noticed.
I think it does depend on how strong the feeling is as well, because there's feelings that can be done in almost instantly, but there's feelings that take, a much longer, and there's even feelings, I think, when you go really deep into this process that may even take days.
Yeah.
But that's really sort of advanced. Or when you have a lot of stamina.
Your one just feels like it's going to work its way through the system now. So it's like you've pretty much done it. It's like it will just look after itself.
Actually, what was interesting when you guys were doing your process, it was quite interesting what was coming up for me, because whilst you were talking, there was parts of me, because I do this process, I take people through this process as well, there's parts of me saying that wanted to say something to Peggy.
Oh yeah.
And there was a feeling in me, you know, of wanting, saying,
I should be doing this.
Yes, you should be doing this.
I would have had exactly the same.
Yeah.
I would have been like, I'm not good enough because I'm not doing it. I should be the one in charge.
This is exactly what came up for me as well. There was the two things, the feeling of wanting to say something to you because I'm used to, you know, what about this?
Being in charge.
Yeah, that was that feeling that came up, so that came up and I was processing that. And the feeling of that I'm not good enough, I would like to be doing this as well, which is really interesting.
That's par for the course. But it really shows you that we've all got so much stuff going on that most of the time we're not even conscious of and aware of. It's unbelievable. When you really start to get into it, it really makes you look at everyone differently, which is really powerful. How are you feeling?
Peaceful. Like, I just feel it's so nice when somebody like focuses with me and just gives me his presence. Like, I can feel it, like it's giving me extra energy and permission to spend some time there, you know? It's really nice. And it was like, I felt your presence as well. Thank you for being there, Daniel.
You're right. It's okay.
Okay, God feed us. Thank you so much, guys, for being here with me. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this. Maybe you have some similar experience. Maybe you want to just comment and say like, oh, this is interesting. I'm also going to leave you these guys, like the personal social profile and website and anything you need to know if you want to contact them. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you got something out of that, and I see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye bye.
Bye.